Lisa, the best way I can describe it, if there was something I was put on earth to do, it's what I'm doing right now. When I like step back and really think about it, like this is why I'm here. Like doing this, I hope that I'm equipping other people to go out and find their purpose, to live fulfilled, to live full of joy. Flow is this connecting point of my passion, my purpose, and the results I'm able to drive for other people. Flow means to me is serving at the highest capacity in a way that I really love to serve.
The world is filled with fluffy, ethereal podcasts about spiritual growth, transformation, and inspiration. Yeah, this isn't one of them. No, Find Your Flow is about what happens when life stops working. So let's get into it. No filters, no scripts, no curated sound bites, no fluff whatsoever, just flow. Always hit record.
Yes.
Hello, Alex Sanfilippo. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, you sure did. Yep. Sure did.
So, listener, I'm going to introduce you to Alex mainly because he's the founder of PodMatch. And I will go into how I even discovered PodMatch. It was an unsolicited email from Alex. And this natural skeptic was like, I don't know. But then I'm really glad that I joined. I hit record because we were in a conversation prior to coming on here. And we were talking about like how we met and how all of this came to be. Alex made this post. He made this post in our PodMatch community. And I'm going to let you tell them all about it. But it struck a chord with me. It struck a chord. And I will say this, listener, it's because you meet someone on their journey. And it's kind of like they're established and they know what the hell they're doing. And Alex, I really hope you don't mind my cursing.
It's your podcast. I'm just.
I don't want to offend my guests.
I've been listening to your podcast. No, I would have told you we're good. Keep it going, please.
But you do. You meet people along their journeys, and you're just sort of like, you're a success, and oh my God, and there was never a doubt, and you were born to do this, and here you are living your purpose. And it turns out that you had a pivot, and I think that it's critical, it's crucial for people to be sharing these points and times in their lives where they have redefined who they are, what success means to them, and how in the hell did they go about doing it? Because I think that in that how is that like critical piece of, oh, wait a second, maybe I'm not alone. Wait a second, this guy might have a solution that could work for me. So thank you for being here. Thank you for exploring this with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I can say with confidence, as a listener of your podcast, I have never been on a show like this. So
Yay!
I don't tend to be like a nervous guy behind the microphone, but I'll be real. I'm like, man, I hope I can really show up and really serve you, Lisa, but also your listener today. So
you will.
I'm here to do the best I possibly can. But yeah, this is a new experience for me, and I'm really honored that you'd even think of me for this.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for showing up here with some vulnerability and with some truth and some honesty, because I think that that's really necessary for people to help them.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Alex, what does flow mean to you? Here's an easy one. Layup. What does flow mean to you?
So the reason I know that I'm not like necessarily the norm for this show is like I really struggled with this question. Like to me,
then you are the norm for this show.
Am I? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
A little imposter syndrome here then. But when I thought of like, what does your flow mean to you? I immediately went straight to like the most professional answer I could find. Like in my head, I was just like, oh, it means this, but I'm not even going to share that because that's not what it's about. When I thought flow, it goes far beyond just my ability to perform with work, my ability to drive things forward. Sure, that can be part of it, but more importantly, that flow is this connecting point of my passion, my purpose, and the results I'm able to drive for other people, not for me, for other people. So it's this connecting point. And so for me, like what flow means to me is serving at the highest capacity in a way that I really love to serve. And simply put, that's what flow is in my world.
Well, and in that intersection, you are fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So
Oh, yes.
helping others succeed, you get to experience success. And listener, I'm telling you right now, if you have a podcast or want to be a guest on a podcast, this is the place to show up because Alex isn't talking shit. This is not like just out his ass. He is actually speaking from a very real, very true place. I'm not even kidding you. When you come into the PodMatch community, there's so much to offer. There's so much to offer people like me who are just trying to get our voices out into the world. And it comes from a place of such authenticity with you that truly helping people find their voice, to share their voice, then helps the world figure out who they are. It's this really neat, soft place to land where everybody gets to share. And then I think that translates right into the products that we put out into the world. And by product, I mean our episodes and our shows. So with this enlightened definition, she says, with a slight twinkle in her eye and an air quote, this enlightened definition of flow. When were you ever out of flow?
More of my life than I'd like to admit. And I do want to mention, like, you kind of said, like, we find our own fulfillment within that 100%. Like, I didn't even say that. For me, that was like automatic. Operating in what I feel is my purpose by serving others, like in between that intersection, like you said, like that's where I'm finding my own joy, my own fulfillment. And so, like, it's almost like a byproduct of being in that,
Yeah, for sure.
that sense of flow. And most of my life, to answer your question, it just hasn't been there. And I don't think I even realized it for so long. Like, I really don't. And I'll get to the story you hinted at when we started. When I was 10, let's go back to 10. I'm gonna go way back, and I'll keep this pretty brief. People are like, uh-oh, here
Love
we
that you
go.
can even remember that far back. But go ahead.
That's as far back as this is like some of my first memories. So, okay, it doesn't go much further than that. Well, let me go back even further. The day I was born, actually, before I was born. No, like
When I was a thought.
when I was 10 years old, I did the first thing that I thought I was good at. I realized at that age I was very self-aware as a 10-year-old. Not in a weird way, like it wasn't one of these things where I beat myself up ever, but I knew I wasn't good at sports like a lot of my friends. I also wasn't good at video games like a different group of friends. I struggled in school. My brothers were all musicians. I just realized, like, even as a 10-year-old, again, it never like bothered me, but I knew I hadn't found my thing yet. Until one day I found a used golf ball on the golf course across the street from the neighborhood I lived in. All the parents said, don't go play on the golf course. So every kid immediately
Of
straight to the
course.
golf course, right? And so I found a golf ball one day and I was just holding it. I didn't really know anything about golf, but someone rode by on a golf cart and said, hey kid, what does that golf ball say on it? I read it. It was like Titleist Pro V1. And he goes, I'll give you $3 for it. And so I gave him the ball. He gave me $3. And a light bulb went off. I was like, wait a minute. I'm a kid. It's the 90s. $3 is enough for like 3 candy bars, like 3 good candy bars.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of gathered the kids that were there, some of them being my brothers. And I was like, hey, let's find more golf balls and sell them on Saturday. And long story short, I end up really understanding that I was good at rallying people. I was good at talking to adults, even as a 10-year-old. I was good at selling stuff. And I would consider that a very low-key, non-tax paying introduction to entrepreneurship for me. I kind of, in that moment, I like realized, like, this is what I'm good at. And so if I just follow that through high school, like selling stuff on eBay was something I loved doing, getting any sort of job I could get into. I loved it. I loved it more than the school I was doing. Fast forward to my late teen years, I got into a technology startup in the real estate space. And so we were building virtual tours of homes, which is now very common. You go to some of these popular websites where you look at homes, you can kind of like drag your mouse around and all that. We were pioneering that technology. And so I was like,
As a
man, this is
teenager.
sweet. Yes. Yeah. I was good on computers, and back then that's all that you needed for qualification, I think. And so we're able to figure this out. So I had a whole team. That was a tax paying business. I had a whole team. There were 7 of us total. And then I started investing in real estate as soon as I could. And everything seemed to be going really well. So from the age of 10 till at this point, 20, 21, something along those lines, I had really never had a struggle when it came to business. Like, there was no reality check. Like, everything just kind of clicked and worked. And I know that is not like a typical experience. And that's why I'll share what happened next to me. I was actually sitting in a lobby of a dental office. And Lisa, I think you're a bit younger than me, but back in my day.
Love you because I know I'm not.
Okay, well, you look younger than me. So back in my day, maybe Lisa's day, low key, there was not like phones to play on when you're in the waiting room. And so for me, what I did is I just picked up the magazine that was in front of me on the little desk area there. So I picked it up.
We're
And it
in
was
the same era.
Okay, all right.
We really are.
Okay, cool. All right, fair enough. You remember Blockbuster? You remember the good old days, right?
Yeah. Rewind, man.
So I pick up this magazine. It happens to be Forbes 30 Under 30. And I'm flipping through it. And for the first time in my life, I'm like lighting up about this. Like, work has just been happening to me. I kind of just fell into everything I had done at this point. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to become a Forbes 30 under 30 and real estate is going to get me there. And I know it's going to be the vehicle. And so I just committed to myself at that point that I'm going to do this. I'm going to get there. Notice the words, me, I, right? Like it was very self centered. And at that point, I didn't have anything really to grab onto. Long story short, fast forward just a couple years here and 2006 hits. 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. These were really bad
Market
years to be
crash,
involved in
man.
anything in real estate. I've got a technology startup and rental properties. So it's like, okay, I remember waking up one day thinking I'm doing really well on my journey to become this Forbes 30 under 30 to the next day waking up realizing, oh, I'm in trouble. The,
The
the
bottom
company I
fell
had
out.
wasn't
Yep.
even sellable. I gave it to one of the people that was in it. I was just like for like $1. I don't know how it worked. Whatever. We did it legally, right? But passed it off. And because we were doing 30 plus homes per day to one per month. Like to give an idea of how intense this crash was. I moved into a rental property that I never had any business moving into, never wanted to move into, but it was the only way I could keep it. And so I hit this really tough point where I now realized I had built up this idea that I was going to be this Forbes 30 under 30. My life was going to be about that. I would propel myself from that happening to now this isn't even possible. Now can I just feed myself? That's where I ended up being. And so I went from this place of never having like a real failure, if you will, to being the most in debt person I knew at my age and someone who really just lacked purpose. I was anxious. I was stressed out. I realized I didn't have any real friends because my friends were all based upon how successful we were and they disappear when times are tough, right? It was a really, that's the most out of flow I've ever been. And it was absolutely the rock bottom of my life. The worst point of my life was during those times. But I will tell you, I am so grateful for that because I would have never actually found who I was supposed to be. But I've said a lot here, Lisa, so I'm going to pause and pass it over to you.
Are you kidding me? You're the guest. You get to speak as much as you want. Here's what I'm going to say, though. I'm going to point out to the listener. This podcast is really for you and for the times in your life where you really do feel stuck, where you feel like you don't know what the fuck is happening. How did I get here? Who am I? I love what you just said, Alex, which is it was the most impactful. Did it suck? Absolutely. Did it suck in the moment? Absolutely. Can you look back and go, that was a shitty time? Absolutely. But to be able to then redirect your focus and sort of get it from another perspective, go up a little bit higher. I love to envision time as a spiral. And to be able to go around and up at the exact same time into this elevated position where you get to look back at times in your life, look down on times in your life, and see it for what it actually was. An opportunity to go, wait, time out, pause. Can I just maybe thank the world around me for forcing me into this, for making me see that I needed a course correction. And that's not necessarily because you were on the wrong path. And listener, I'm telling you this, you're not necessarily on the wrong path. It's just that maybe you need to learn some new skills. The skills of resilience, the skills of creativity, the skills of creative thought, the act of creation, creating something out of nothing. And that's our right. That's our divine right to be able to create something out of nothing, to have these ideas pop into our heads and then be able to fucking run with them. That's exciting to me. That's really exciting. And you don't necessarily have to do it with a parachute on your back and trying to drag all of your life experiences with you. You can cut those ties and go, okay, I learned what I learned. Now, how do I get to apply those to something different? And that brings us to, what did you do? How did you pivot? What even brought about this idea of PodMatch? And in the notes, in the show notes, listener, if you scroll down, you'll be able to see that I really do equate it to like a dating site for a woman who has never been on a dating site. But what I've read, dating sites came after my whole dating scene. But to really match guests with shows, guests with hosts, and you do such a great job. You took this algorithm and you applied it to a field that really needed it, because how in the hell else are we going to ever find guests? How are we going to find shows? How do we come together? How do we make it synergistic? So take me back to that, sitting around, because I imagine in my head, I've painted a picture of you sitting like at a coffee table in your living room with a pencil to your brain going, oh God, I have this thought. How about I write this down? And now how do I get from here to there? Take me there. Take me on that journey.
Yeah, yeah. It was a lot of that for sure. You know, in going back to this idea of like finding your flow, like even though things were successful from 10 to 20 to 21, however old I was during that time leading up to like when I felt like I crashed, right? I was never in like a real flow. I was just letting life happen to me and it just happened to be good. And I think
Happened
that from
to you. You
yes,
weren't even participating.
that's how I felt. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't make the opportunities. It just kind of showed up in my lap, and I'm grateful for that. But I know that it's not most people's reality, and the truth is, it's not even that great if that happens because you never have the chance to actually step up and, as you said, create for yourself. I was just kind of creating because it's like, oh, it's here. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, sure. And so I don't think I was ever in like, was I operating in a sense of flow from like a business perspective? Absolutely. Was I in my Alex Sanfilippo's personal life flow? Absolutely not. Right. So there's both sides of that. And I think that again, this hitting rock bottom really required me to do for the first time real self-reflection as to what does Alex want? Like, why am I
Mm,
really here? Like, did I want Forbes under 40 or under 30 for me? Or was that for somebody else? And the thing is, I wanted people to see me as that. And so now when I'm hitting rock bottom to just be vulnerable, like I started just showing people who I was because I was like, I don't have any other way to hide it anymore. Right. Like
right.
this is who I am.
Stripped away.
Yeah, and at that point, I took a part-time job. It was a receiving clerk position at like a aircraft parts manufacturing company. I had a 15-year career that I really loved, and I believe it helped get me on that right track. I also like I'm a person of faith, so like I found faith in Jesus at that point. Like
Hmm.
that is the foundation of my life. And then I built on like that business. But I realized once again, like after I got out of it and got into PodMatch, which is a story that I know we're about to jump into here, I realized once again, like, oh, I wasn't like I was working in flow once again, but it wasn't really something that I was passionate about. It wasn't something that like I took the job out of necessity, right? And I stayed because I was good at it. And so the really the first time, like I don't mean to fast forward through a 15-year career. I loved it. Like I enjoyed it, but it really wasn't my flow. It was at about year 13 that company went public that I was there. So year 13 of me being there went public and I realized I didn't like it anymore. I liked being creative when I could, but as soon as the red tape showed up, as soon as the board showed up,
But yeah.
it just wasn't as fun for me. And the reality is though, funny enough, my best years there were my last 2 years of that company. Like I did so good. I thrived under a board and I worked my way up to the C-suite level. Like I did really, really well. But there was this sense of like something here just isn't right for me. Like I'm still doing things for other people. And so for the first time, I started just exploring like, what is a side hustle? Okay, let me try building websites because I think that's kind of fun. I hated that, right? Like, let me do some speaking. I liked it, but I didn't really enjoy traveling, right? Like, there was all these different things I just started trying. But what I really fell in love with was one of the things I tried, which was podcasting. And I was like, this is so fun. Like, I love meeting people like Lisa. Like, this is just, for me, this is a meaningful experience. I will remember this forever. It's so fun. And so I realized, like, oh, I want to, for me, I want to do something in podcasting. I now know what I want to do. Like, I can tell that I'm truly like in that real sense of flow with adding value to people, with where I can just work really well, but also find my own fulfillment and joy in it. This is that intersection. It's podcasting. And so, to your point, one day I was speaking at a podcasting conference. It was semi-local. It was in Orlando, Florida. And I just talked to as many podcasters as I could that day to ask, hey, what are you struggling with? Like, what's hard for you in podcasting? And I heard from 100 different people the same thing, which was, hey, I'm having trouble finding the right guest for my show and streamlining that whole process. And so I went home, like you said, pencil hitting myself in the head. It was actually a whiteboard marker hitting myself in the head. At this point, it was 2020, right? Like at this point, the world had actually shut down basically. So I was working from home. I still had my corporate job. I ended really faithfully, by the way. There was like a clean break on those two things, but I'm hitting my head with this marker, and I was like, ah, there's something here, but I just don't know what it is. I'll call it divine intervention. Something
Mhm.
just clicked. And being a corporate guy, I had 3 giant whiteboards in my home office. And so I took up every, at least I'm not exaggerating, I took every
Love everything
inch.
about that.
I took up every inch of those whiteboards. Like in the bottom right hand corner of the last one, there's 3 of them. The bottom right hand corner, I wrote down like a dating app, but connecting people for podcast interviews instead of dates. As you literally just described, right? Like that's how you describe it too, which is so cool. And I've also never been on a dating app. So well, I'm told, right? So we're both told. And that's where the idea was born. I was like, let's not reinvent the wheel. And so I immediately called up a friend of mine who I'd known for a long time, who was a developer. And I also asked my wife, right? Like the three of us kind of formed a team right there, had a lawyer drafted up, and we just went to town working on it. It was March 10th, 2020. And on June 15th, 2020 is when we officially launched. And it was it was quick. It was really cool. And for the first time, I felt like, man, this is hitting all the dots and I'm actually in this sense of flow. Lisa, the best way I can describe it, and I say this to almost anyone I meet, if there was something I was put on earth to do, it's what I'm doing right now. And I truly wake up every day feeling that way. I'm not saying there's not hard days and times where I'm like, I hate this, right? Like, of course. But when I like step back and really think about it, like this is why I'm here, like doing this. And I don't know beyond me the impact it'll have. But man, I hope that I'm equipping other people to go out and find their purpose, to live fulfilled, to live full of joy, whether they're guest or host, and however, wherever that takes them. And so the rest is, I'm not saying the last 5.5 years of PodMatch since 2020 have been history, but like it's just kind of been building upon that since that
For
time.
sure. Here's what I'm going to say. And I want to point this out, especially to the listener. There are plenty of things, and I look back in my life and I go, there are plenty of things that I'm good at. Shit ton of things. I'm really smart. I can do a shit ton of things, but there's not a whole lot I'm meant to do. There's not a whole lot I'm called to do. And for me, I was called for a period of time in my life to own a studio, to work with people in person, to help them heal mind, body, soul. Even that changed renditions over the years while it was open. You know, I started off very focused on the body. Then that started to open up to be a little bit more of emotional and body, because it turns out when you work the body, you release emotions. And then it was, how do we connect you to your soul so that you can leave this studio with purpose? And then I was called to close that studio. So I did it. And that was my leap of faith. That was my absolute, I don't know why I'm being called to close this super successful studio, but I'll do it. I'll do it because I know the flip side of also not listening to your calling, of being sidelined, and that sucks ass. There's no other way to put it. It really does. So I just say yes now to each experience. And for the last 2 years, I've been on this sort of journey of figuring out, okay, who am I now? Who am I at this point in my life? Empty nester. My kids are in their 20s and they're off. I see, look at your face. I love you so much. I do. I love you.
Now I feel bad. Anyway,
Don't feel bad. Are you
didn't mean
kidding
to-
me? You've like made my day.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm so sorry. Everyone listening, I just made like the craziest face because I thought we were the same age. And then you said kids in your 20s. I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm so
See, I
sorry. You had
told
a
you I
good
was a little
story going.
older.
Keep on
I
going,
told you.
please.
Listen, straight up, I'm 53. I have a 26-year-old daughter, a 22-year-old son. She's 25. I shouldn't rush it. 25 for a couple more months. 25 and 22. And they are, off living their lives, creating their lives. So here I am with my husband, and we're like, now what? In my very first, I guess that was 2005, my very first, like, who am I? What am I doing? My husband said to me, sure, you could go back to work, or you could figure out who you are right now and do something you've always wanted to do and go explore that and go see what that's all about. That kicked off that journey for me. So here I am in this point in time in my life, asking myself the same questions, right? That spiral, come back up and around and look at my life and go, now who am I? Now, how do I want to connect with other people, help other people? And meanwhile, I've got my mom chirping in my ear going, you were so good. You should open your studio. You should do that again. You've got whatever blessed hands to help people. And I kept saying, yeah, I know all of that is true. I know what I'm good at, but I also know what I'm called to do, and that's different. And lo and behold, it's this podcasting. And I'll tell you, even this is miraculous. This was divine intervention for me as well. Because I sit in meditation every day. I listened to whatever messages come through my soul, whatever comes through my heart to be expressed. And it was start a podcast. And I was like, I've never listened to a podcast. I don't know what that word means. I don't know anything about it. But okay, if I'm told and guided to create a podcast, then I create a podcast. So I went on Google, what's a podcast? How to start a podcast? And, listen, this is the way that it happens. When you're in purpose, when you're in flow, in alignment with purpose, it just starts happening so quickly. And I too, it was a matter of months. And I went from ground zero to launching my podcast, launching this one, Find Your Flow. And within, I don't know, Alex, I think it was like 2 weeks, I got your email that said, I'd like to introduce you to PodMatch. And I was like, scam, whatever. But then something stopped me and said, this, look at this, check this out. And it was something in the voice of your email. It was something in the sincerity and the authenticity of it. That truth sort of rang through it. And I clicked on your links and I was like, this seems pretty nice. Sure, why not? Why wouldn't I try this? Listener, if you have a podcast, it's like what, $6 a month, something. It's so ridiculously cheap that it really does put you in the category of why wouldn't I try this? And then you're like, thank God I tried this. So just try it. Scroll down, click on the link, just try it. That changed everything. That changed everything. The way, I mean, listen, I was an analyst once upon a time a million years ago, so I love the analytics of it. I love how it's broken down. I love that you go from video to video. I love that you have audio teaching, visual teaching, written teaching. Like you've got every sense of how someone learns placed forward so that they can move very quickly and seamlessly through learning how the whole thing works behind the scenes. And then I don't know what magic voodoo you have in the background to match.
I don't think there's any magic voodoo. We did not. We don't have a copyright on that or anything. I don't know.
It's magic voodoo, everybody. See there. I just ripped the veil off of all of it. It's magic voodoo in the background that pairs you, suggests guests, ideal guests for your show. They're fabulous. They're absolutely fabulous. I literally went into all of this. A friend of mine said, start a podcast. And I was like, I don't know what a podcast is. Then I'm in meditation, start a podcast. Okay, but I don't know what a podcast is. And then I was like, I don't even know how I'm going to get guests. I mean, okay, listen, if divine voice tells me do something, I do it. And then I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get guests. And then this email shows up. And then all of a sudden, I shit you not, I was booked within a couple of months for the entirety of 2025.
You've got a great show. That's why. That's not typical results. So congratulations.
Thank you. I have an incredible wait list of like 50 people for 2026. And you say that that's not normal. I'm like, it's my normal. So I'm chalking it up to you and the voodoo magic that you do. Tell me the impact of this, because it's more than just matching guests with their podcasts. This is about creating connections. And for me, that is a soul-to-soul connection. These are very real conversations, at least that I'm hosting, very, very real conversations. And the guests, the quality of guests that are suggested to me are so beautiful. How are you doing this? How in the hell? Are you just sitting over there going, yep. It's like I'm not even lying. It is really like a love match. So this is just soul-to-soul connection, and that I think is just beautiful.
Lisa, thank you for saying all that. It seriously makes my day. I do want to answer your question, but I don't want to just go past your story of like studio to like now podcaster. Leap of faith is the way you said it. Like you took your big leap of faith. Is it okay if I go back to something on that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I know the listeners probably heard this story before, but do you? I don't even know how to really ask this, but like, do you feel that you get taken out of your like flow when you're making that leap of faith, when you're changing it, and is that okay, or do you somehow stay in it? Like, here's the thing: like, as much as I love what I'm doing with PodMatch right now, like, it's probably not the rest of my life. Like, something else will reinvent. Things will change. There'll be something else I'm called to create, like you are. Do we like temporarily pull ourselves out of this flow to kind of start over or pivot? I don't know. That's actually like a real question I have, and I don't know if any listeners will resonate with that. But for me, I'm really curious.
So for me, and for people that I've worked with, people that I've interviewed, I've talked with in my life, there comes a point in time where it starts to feel like friction.
Like what you're doing feels like friction. So like the studio.
Like friction.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not that you're not gaining fulfillment from it. Every single blessed day I walked into the studio and I worked with my amazing clients. In the moment, I'm like 100%, right? At the end of the day, I'm 100%. But there are moments of friction where the best way to describe it is like it feels like sandpaper. Where all of a sudden, like you're talking with somebody or you're doing something or you go, "What's that grit?" Maybe I taste it in my mouth and it's like, when you're on the beach and sand happens to blow into your mouth and you're like, "Ooh, there's a little bit of grit in my teeth." Or when you find sand in your socks and you're like, there's that sand. There's just a little bit of friction. Or, maybe you're in development of something with PodMatch and you go, "What's that? Why do I hear sandpaper, taste sandpaper, sandpaper, or feel sandpaper?" Something feels just a little bit of friction. And then that sensation starts to expand into your experiences. So maybe it's all of a sudden the numbers on PodMatch actually start to turn and there are less people joining, or you're noticing that people aren't having as great an experience and you go, "Oh, okay. All right. So there's something about the flow of this that has hit a place of friction." And if you sit in that long enough, and listener, listen, this goes for anything in your life, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if all of a sudden you start to notice, okay, wait, something doesn't feel quite right. It feels like there's a little bit of contrast, a little bit of friction. Close your eyes, sit in that, and see what your visual is. So for me, it's like looking at a stream that is like running so beautifully, and then all of a sudden, it's a trickle because the land is up too high, or there are rock formations or something, or maybe the side banks have come in and narrowed too much, and now all of the water just starts to slow down, and then it trickles, 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 and then there's dredging that happened, and now all of a sudden the stream opens up again. But in that moment of friction, if you start to ask yourself, does this still feel good? Do I still feel of purpose? Not in purpose. Do I still feel of purpose? You're going to very quickly start getting your answers. And maybe it's that it's time to sell your business and to move on to something else. Our souls are meant to, we've got one purpose, which is to always be in peace. Always to be in the sanctity of peace. And how do we get there? We get there by constantly and consistently creating. Because our threshold for peace, it should get bigger. It should get deeper. We should strive higher because those elevations of peace are what we deserve and where we're supposed to be living. So when you start to feel a little bit of that friction, little bit of that grit to all of it, go, okay, how am I of purpose? Am I still of purpose? And then if your answer comes to no, you go, okay, so how can I take what I've created here and continue? Right? How can I continue? How can I make this bigger? How can I go farther with it? So there I was closing down my studio. 2 months after, I woke up one day feeling really very rested, to the point where I was like, I didn't know I was tired. Holy shit. Like, this is what it feels like to be rested. And from there, I was like, okay, so I can create more. Literally everything that I did in the studio, I'm doing again through this podcast, just in a different way. I am serving people I'm supposed to be serving. I get to serve people all over the world now instead of just in one studio. I get to make referrals because every guest that comes on my show, I want to be sending people to you. It's the whole point of this, right? This infinite sharing, which is why I wanted to have you on here, because you have created PodMatch from a place of infinite sharing. And so what you're creating here, of course, you're not going to do this forever. You're not meant to do this forever. You're supposed to create birth into the world and then allow it to live while you go off and you create something else, because now your capacity for more has grown, right? And your need for impact grows deeper, more rooted. So you have to be able to expand. You just have to. That's the nature of it all. I would hope and pray to God that you would be able to share with the world in another way.
Yeah. This is so good. I took notes. I hope that's okay. Hopefully, no one
Of
can hear me
course.
typing. I'm over here taking notes. It's just so good. Like that friction. It made me think right back to my aerospace career. Those last 2 years, although my best performance on paper, they were the two least happy years I had there. It's like there was real friction. It was time to like. It was just time to move on. And one of the things I didn't share is when I left that career, it enabled 5 different people that had been with the company long term to get promoted. It moved like everyone up this chain. And it's like, man, now they get to step into like to something new. They get to create on that higher level, right? And so anyway, thank you for sharing that. I was just really curious to hear like from you, Lisa, like what your thoughts would be. If now is okay, I'll go back in that question you asked about
Yes, please. Thank you.
the impact that connections are having that are being made on Podmatch specifically. Listen, when I got started, the goal was to connect guests and hosts for interviews. I wasn't trying to be narrow minded. I just was like, if we can create that connection, it's going to be great. And people can go do whatever, right? It'll be really cool. I didn't really give much thought to what would happen beyond that. Like, I didn't really, I just maybe just didn't know. Maybe it was naive of me. I was probably too young in my own podcasting journey, just a couple years in myself to like really understand. But the truth is, once I started hearing from people, they're like, "Hey, I met this person. We met up in this country because like we were both going to be there. We formed a business together." Or this is the person who helped me overcome my trauma. We had people that were like really struggling with suicide that had shows. They were trying to figure out how to get through that, which I think is a brilliant way to do that. They met someone that became the person that helped them like really overcome those feelings and those desires. And it's like, what? I mean, seriously, if Podmatch gets shut down tomorrow, like let's just imagine it's gone tomorrow, it was worth it. Like it truly saved one person's life that I know, right? Like think about that. And so for me, like now I sit back and the least of what we do is make good connections, right? And sure, we have an algorithm we built, the AI we built, like all that stuff that makes those matches happen. Beautiful machine, really cool. That's the least of it. It's the human connection that's forming, a bond between two different people. The way that I look at all relationships is they're built on this foundation of meaningful experience. A meaningful experience is something that you do. It's this moment in time where you set this foundation, this pace for what your friendship or your relationship could become in the future. Podcast episode with a guest and host for most people is a true meaningful experience. As you said, Lisa, it turns into, okay, now what? Where do we go from here? Right? Like, it's not just
Yeah.
cool. Thank you. Hope you have a good life. See ya. Right? Like, it's very rarely that. Typically, it's like, wow, we made magic together that's going to serve somebody who heard it. What's next? What else do we do? And so for me, like, I mean, seeing that impact, I have to remind myself every day how important that is, right? And like how beautiful that is to get to be that person. Like, I thank God every day for the opportunity to be able to do this. I'm like, man, like the connections are happening aren't me. People are doing it. We're just facilitating them. But what a
Hmm.
gift to be in that position. And so for me, like I don't know what the long tail effect of Podmatch looks like. Like I really don't. I don't think anyone could ever know. But at this point, like it has global reach, and I never ever would have expected that in my life. And I'm grateful to be the hands and feet that are doing this, like that are creating in this way.
It moves through you, and it's very clear. Like it's something bigger at play here that just gets to move through you. I just wrote down, I don't know if you know this, but in addition to a fabulous podcast host, I am a Reiki master and an intuitive and I channel and all the things, right? And I literally just wrote down production company. Have you ever considered it?
I have not considered it. No, I have not, but I'll write it down too
Because
because you said it.
wouldn't it be awesome? Wouldn't it be awesome if there was one place where sort of like a television network, you know what I mean? Where it was just these high vibrational, connected, truthful, vulnerable meetings and interviews where people get to learn from each other and through each other. I mean, like the actual good side of reality TV where nothing is scripted and it's all just so beautiful and we really are connecting one soul to another. And if that were available online for anyone around the world to tune in at any moment and see this programming of hope and generosity, I mean, that changes everything. That really does. That changes everything. And now listen, selfishly, I'm like, yeah, could you get on board to change the world? Because that's what I would like. But it's interesting that I had no choice but to write down the words production company and for you to just start exploring, just planting a seed. That's all. Do with it
No,
as you
thank you.
will.
I took notes on that, and that will be not today, but that will hit my whiteboard pretty soon here, sometime this week, and I will hopefully do the same thing I did when I started PodMatch, which is fill up the whole thing. I have no idea what I'm doing, but something
I
will
hope
click.
you took pictures of that.
I did not, and I regularly regret not taking pictures of it. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm better at documenting now, but early on, I was like, I would have loved to have shown somebody what that looked like.
Right?
An absolute mess. It looked like a
The
crazy person.
mind tree. What is it?
Yes.
It's like I don't know. Who was it? Sherlock. He goes into his mind whatever.
Less math than that, but yeah, that was kind of what it looked like.
It's fantastic. Yeah, so yeah, that would be really neat if you within months created some sort of network. It just sort of, I don't know. I think it also comes from because please feel free to explain all of this to me as well, because somehow you asked us all like, what are your stats on your shows, and then let us know what they are in however many months. And I was like, well, holy shit, like mine has grown tremendously. What is that all about? So I don't know. I just do as I'm asked. And I'm like, the guy needs numbers. I'll give him numbers. I don't know what they mean, but here you go. But maybe, just maybe, all of that background, being able to now match listeners with shows, that pairing, I don't know, kind of feels like you're doing the work already of
Very
creating this
low
bigger
key.
picture.
This is a much bigger idea than what we're doing, but we are working hard in the background. Like we match podcasts and guests together, right? And the idea is
Okay.
to find episodes and match them to listeners as well, which we do totally in the background. But this is an extension of that idea. It's in its infancy right now.
Yeah.
Because it's so much more technical, like it's one of those things that we have to approach slowly. But this gives me something to build on. So thank you for that. Really cool.
Yeah, that would be really neat.
It
Just
would.
saying, that would be really neat. So, listener, this is what happens to me in my life. Right now, everybody should know. I'll just say what's happening. So, right now, what's happening is there's a whole lot of noise in the background of my existence. And it's every once in a while, like the noise is getting too loud for me to push back, which tells me, okay, write this down, go share it with him. He needs to hear this, he needs to hear that. And right now, there's just this like big giant wave of information that's coming, and we can talk about it whenever, or I can like take notes for you and send them to you. But really, what I wanted listeners to come away with from your story is that everything can look great, everything can look wonderful. And I love that you experienced that from the age of 10 to what, 20? 10 years of sort of blinders are on and good things are happening. And that's what youth is all about. That's what youth should be. I raised my kids with that same concept of, I don't give a shit where you go to college or what you study. How about you use this time to really get to know who you are? Because you've spent like a good 18 years of everybody around you telling you who you should be, who you think you should be, and what measuring stick you're going to measure yourself against. And it's a lot to push back on that, especially between the ages of 10 and 20. So for you to reach that quarter life crisis, a little bit on the early side, but a quarter life crisis of the whole world falling apart and I don't know who I am or what I'm doing, you were right on track. Let's just like put that out there. You 20-year-olds who are listening, you're right on track. You should be questioning who you are. You should be questioning what the fuck and where am I and who's in my life. All of those things should be coming out in the wash. You're right where you should be, and learn from this gentleman's experience, because what looks like the lowest moment of your life, especially when you haven't experienced any resistance whatsoever. Because God bless you, Alex, for just sort of going with it, for going with the flow. And that's a very elementary school level of flow. To just jump in the raft and go, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. I'm in for the ride. Let's see where this goes. That is a very elementary school level of flow. And then eventually your raft hits a rock, it slices open, and you find that you can't do it anymore. And you're sort of just stuck. And now what? That's a redefining moment. So for listeners to be able to learn from your story and garner, okay, this is normal. And if I ask these questions, who am I? What resonates with me? Who do I want to be? What do I want to create? And how can I go about creating that? and then start taking steps to actually do it, changes your life. Completely and utterly changes your life. I love that you stepped into another path of your journey that was like, okay, this is sort of familiar. I get to work the same muscles that I had conditioned before. I'm going to use that same skill set, see what I can create. And how many years were you in that? That
15. I think it'd be just over 15.
okay. So to take that amount of time and go, okay, this is what works, this is what doesn't. So it's like that sorting hat. I always say, it's like a sorting hat in Harry Potter. You start figuring out what goes where, who goes where. There's all these parts of you. What belongs to that version of you? What belongs to that version of you? What's left? And you take those pieces and you move forward with those and go, what can I create with this? This is where I am right now. This is what I hold. These are my skills. This is what I'm really good at. But does it resonate? Is it what my soul is calling me to do? And you sort again. And what you're left with is usually one golden nugget that you go, this, from here I create. From this, my new life begins. And you wind up creating something that's so aligned with who you are that you are in purpose, of purpose, on purpose. And then you will float along, creating all the way until you find that grit. And I love that you're already considering that. Your journey has been amazing to me. How does it feel now? Now, looking back at the guy who was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to be Forbes 30 under 30. How old are you now? Did you meet that goal? Talk to me about Forbes, because that's really what brought us here.
I was born in 1988. So at time of recording, I'm 37. Had to do the math in my head. So sorry, everyone had to hear it.
You're good. You're quick
I was like,
with
how
math.
old am I? And yeah, so that whole Forbes thing, like that left my mind. Like when I built that new foundation, found my faith, got into a career, that was kind of like it was like the old Alex. Like you said, like when going through that sifting process, like that was not one of the things I kept. Like didn't feel the need for it anymore and just let it go completely. But talk about just a wild life experience, like a full circle moment. A few months ago, I get contacted by Forbes. Now, I'm well over 30, so I didn't like win Forbes 30 under 30. That would be very odd at this point. But they reached out saying, "Hey, we need a voice for podcasters within Forbes." It's not like a staff position. It's nothing like that, right? So I don't like work for Forbes, but like, can we put you on our website as that person? Whenever you feel the want, the desire, you submit articles, or if we have questions, we can ask you the questions about podcasting related things. And I was like, Forbes wants me to help? Like, sure. And like, I was like, this sounds amazing. And then a couple weeks later, a plaque shows up in the mail that says like Forbes. I don't have it right in front of me, but basically just like Alex Sanfilippo, like I'm a voice on Forbes. And I was like, man, like in that moment, like when I got it, Lisa, like even them contacting me, I didn't even think back to being a Forbes 30 under 30. But when I saw the plaque, I was like, wait a minute. This is like connected to a dream I had so long ago, which was very self-centered. But now they have me like getting an award for being a voice for other people that I really care about. And that I feel like my purpose is to serve those individuals. I get all my joy from being able to help those people. And it was this crazy full circle moment. Like I'm literally holding it right where I'm standing right now. And I'm like, wow, like that's a blessing, like I would have never thought this would like return to me. And so I just wrote that story on my social feed because I was hoping it would like encourage somebody. And the way I ended it was like, how much better is this than what I originally wanted? Right? Like if I would have gotten what I originally wanted, that would not have in any way, shape, or form compared to what I have now. Like it just wouldn't. It'd have been like, Alex is great. He did this. But instead it's Alex showed up, he found real purpose in his life. Like he's living a life of purpose, as you say. And here's a plaque to remember this by. And so it's just so much better than anything I could have imagined. Now I'm beyond grateful. Like I just didn't even ever see that coming. But I'll tell you what, it does a good job defining where I'm at today with this, operating that sense of flow right now. And I love it.
That's amazing. I'm telling you, I read it and was like, damn, I don't know if Alex does interviews, but I hope he'll sit down with me and chat about this because this is so inspiring for you to have been through so many different renditions of, your soul's calling, your soul's purpose in that moment, and to honor it all And to have it be able to come around, like I said, we circle and we elevate and we take to look back and we get these moments of validation. I love it when it's in your face and it's like a pie in your face. Forbes, you know what I mean? Like you can't you can't unsee that. And it's just, my God, do you need anything else to tell you you're heading in the right direction?
I shouldn't, right? I think I'm good.
Right?
But for
I feel
today,
like
I got it.
I got it. And then when you want me to do something else, I'm here. You just let me know which way I'm going. That's it. That's all. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for sharing your vulnerability. Thank you too for surrendering to your calling. Truly. Because without you, without people like you, without your strength, without your leadership, without you providing example for everybody else on this planet that gets to cross paths with you, we would be wandering around wondering, like, who am I and what the fuck, and is it even worth it? Right? You really are creating spaces for people to be themselves, to share honestly, openly, to connect in ways that are so meaningful. And I mean, I get to be on the receiving end of that every day of my life. So for that, I am grateful. But even bigger, as just a member of the human race, thank you. Oh my God, thank you.
Lisa, thank you. Seriously, for having me on. This has been a blessing. And those kind words, they like straight to the heart. So thank you so, so much. It really means more than I can say.
Yay. So everybody listening, please scroll down, click on the links. I will have them in the show notes for you. Click on the links if you have any interest in starting a podcast, host a podcast, want to be a guest on a podcast. Click on there, come on into PodMatch, say hi to us, get on there, make a little post in the community, say hi to us, and hopefully our paths will cross one day as well. So thank you so much for being here, for listening. What is that? Like the show, subscribe to the channel, or whatever all of those instructions are. Please just do it. It really helps all of us get the word out for even more connections. Alrighty then. Till next time. I'll see ya. Okay. That's it, listener. Before you go, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and set your notifications to never miss an episode. If you'd like even more with me, come on over to nagarelife.com. And if you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, go on and share it. Share it with somebody that you think would enjoy it as well. All right. I'll see you next time.